Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. So I'm getting messages from the universe already. I'm reading for Leo today, but before I get started on that, some of you may have Capricorn placements, or you could be dealing with a Capricorn, or it's just talking about Saturn. I think I'm being prompted to talk about Saturn. The reason why I'm mentioning Capricorn is because as I pressed record a second ago on my reading, a vehicle started reversing outside my house, and it was, this vehicle is reversing. And it's I did start recording because I actually wanted to catch it on camera to explain to you guys what I was talking about. But as I did so, I realized that I hadn't cleared the space out of my camera. I didn't have enough space to record, so I had to stop and clear out my recycle bin. So it's also it's kind of like some kind of like recycling truck. So what I'm getting from this, guys, is yes, I need to talk about Saturn, but also there may be something that you need to do where you're throwing things away. Perhaps you're going to get a skip and throw out some old stuff. You could have to, I don't know, clear the files off your computer, go through your recycling bin, all that kind of stuff. You've got this kind of like throwing things away that are no longer useful energy, like taking out the trash, clearing things out. I'm hearing bad karma, so for some of you, you're just clearing out bad karma, maybe doing some energy work, maybe not holding on to things that hold that kind of bad karma energy for you as well, like memories from the past that brings not sad memories, because I think there's a catharsis in kind of that happy sad nostalgia energy, but anything that you're holding on to that it shouldn't be in your auric field. So talking about Saturn, I have absolutely been feeling this shift. I've even been talking about it. I feel like maybe in the Taurus reading I felt this shift coming. So Saturn has just shifted, or is in the process of shifting today into into Pisces. Yes, so I'm getting like planets and star signs mixed up for some reason. So yeah, Saturn is moving into Pisces. If you were going off the sun centric, there goes that truck by truck. Depending on which system you use. So how this is going to affect you on a personal level, guys, is going to be down to your birth chart. So you need to know your time of birth and your houses. You need to know your rising sign and all your different houses, and then look at which house Saturn has moved into for you, because that's going to really be it's going to tell you a lot. Now for me personally, Saturn has moved into, I think it's my 6th house, which is ruled by, I think, Virgo, and it's like this huge, it's just like a different phase of my life has started. It's like I say, I felt it coming sort of from last week. I just felt suddenly like paperwork wasn't an issue. Like I was going to go through, my files, like recover all passwords for things that I haven't accessed for a while. I just felt very capable and very organized, and really in that kind of Pentacles energy. Like no matter what, like responsible, very grounded, very responsible, very King of Earth, Queen of Earth, Emperor kind of energy. I was just like, right, let's get organized. Which is a very it's not a familiar energy to me at the moment, because for the last 7 or so years, because Saturn is a generational planet, it shifts. It takes about 7 years to shift through a sign. So when it does shift, you go through these cycles. That's why people say like the 7-year itch and things like that, because it's Saturn affects your life and an area of your life in a long-term, highly impactful way. So where you talk about like the kind of daily planets like Mercury, Mars, Venus, these ones that move very quickly, spend a couple of days in a sign and then they move, these can talk about kind of like more mood swing type energy, or things that pop up in our day-to-day that we have to deal with. They're kind of like quick energies. Now things like Pluto, Saturn, like what else we've got, like Neptune, these like slow moving planets, they have a much greater impact over a number of years. So yeah, you may be feeling a shift, in your own energy, where you're suddenly like, I want to focus on this now. I want to put Saturn's like hard work. If you put the work in, you'll be rewarded for it, and it's very play by the rules energy. So again, depending on which house, and you've got 12 houses ruled by all the different kind of like signs, we all do. And so as Saturn shifts, you will feel a shift. And again, it could be a shift into a more relaxed way of living, where you're like, do you know what, I'm going to let the universe take care of things for me, which is kind of what I've been in for the past 7 years. So yeah, it can affect different areas of your life in different ways. So it's definitely worth, if you want to check out your birth chart and see where Saturn is moving into, like, definitely recommend doing that. But yeah, this kind of like it's almost like man of the house energy for me, because again, I felt it coming even before. Some of you may know my dad passed away last week. So it's almost like I'm now the man of the house, right? I'm now the man of the family in a way, where like, yeah, it's a strange energy, but I'm like, do you know what? This is what I'm feeling, and this is what the planets are doing, and everything's in alignment. Everything's divine timing. This is what I'm doing now. It's even like I've been looking at like how to get into the stock market and stuff like that. I'm like, who am I? It was this very kind of like Saturn, I'm saying Capricorn because Saturn rules Capricorn, this real Capricorn energy, which feels, for me personally, and I don't know why I'm talking about this to you, but again, it could be anything I talk about in a reading is part of the reading, and it could be something that you're experiencing too. But my and again, we are talking about like Lilith placements, South Node, Lilith, Moon energy, the parts of our chart that are present more of a challenge for us. And I have South Node Capricorn and Lilith Capricorn. So for me, it feels like almost reaching a point in my life where I'm kind of, I don't know, facing my fears or taking responsibility, where I wanted to give that responsibility to father figures. It's like suddenly I'm stepping into this kind of like father figure energy, which feels right for me at this time. I really feel like I'm doing some like karmic clearing, karmic cleansing. So yeah, definitely with Saturn shifting, because it is like a kind of karma planet, again, Capricorn being the sign of karma. Yeah, you could be presented with new challenges at this time as this planet moves, in regards to facing your fears, facing your basically whenever the universe puts anything in our path that feels like a challenge, right? Anything that feels difficult, it's not to knock you down, it's to teach you to pick yourself up. So yeah, it's a tough love planet, but it's for our best interest. So again, you may feel like something that you've been going through in a 7-year cycle is now wrapping up for you. You know, some sort of phase, something that's been challenging you for a number of years is kind of like something that you've kind of sorted out now. It's something that you've confronted, you've faced, you've cleansed, and you're moving on from. If you haven't dealt with it, you'll still be moving on from it, but it will come back around for you as Saturn moves around your chart, which again could be a long time away. But yeah, like yeah, so we're all going to go into this new phase where we're learning. I'm kind of repeating myself, I'm sorry about that. Again, it could just be something going on in the energies. We're going into this new phase of challenges, right? So we need to go in prepared, and we need to go in kind of ready for whatever life is going to throw at us, and in a way where we're not scared, but we're like, okay, I know that I'm going to be facing new things over the next number of years. I know this is a challenge. I know that this is in my own best interest to face my fears and kind of like take whatever steps. So definitely look at your Lilith placement and your South Node, North Node, things like that at this time, and things like your Chiron, where Chiron is in your chart and where Saturn is in your chart. What else as well? Okay, so they're telling me, again, this could be something that you're finding. My Saturn placement is Libra. I'm sun sign Libra, so someone could also have a sun sign and a Saturn sign that are matching, or Saturn's moving into your first house for some of you. It could be something. All right, what else? So, deja vu, you could have this weird feeling of like, almost like, oh, I'm hearing the way that they're showing me clockwork. It's like seeing the clockwork of the universe, right? It's almost like if you think about how the planets move almost like clockwork. And you may be starting to see these phases of your life as something like clockwork, right? It's almost like you're seeing you're seeing behind the curtain of the Matrix. Sorry, they're showing me a lot of imagery. You're seeing behind the curtain of the Matrix, right? You're seeing like the Wizard of Oz energy. You're almost seeing like, yes, this is reality, right? This isn't a dream that we're living in, that, you know, we're not disconnecting from that in any sort of way. Again, Saturn in Pisces, Pisces being a very dreamy sign. It's more like being like, I understand the systems. I understand the systems at play here. I understand the cycles. I understand how I understand cause and effect, right? In terms of the way we live our lives. So you're sort of getting this kind of bigger picture energy where you almost like taking it's almost like you are stepping out of your day-to-day life for a second, and you're almost like sitting behind the curtain, like with the Wizard of Oz, right? They're showing me as well, like if you've ever been to an escape room, you know, an escape room, you go in, you're solving a mystery or something like this, and they usually communicate to you through a TV. They'll have someone in like the control room. So I went once and my son didn't want to go in the room, so he actually sat in the control room and kind of like gave us the clues and things like this. So I've actually seen kind of behind the scenes of that, and it's a very similar thing. It's like you're seeing behind the scenes of something. Again, it could be something like maybe some of you are on like a TV show and or like you're visiting a set and you're seeing behind the scenes, or it's like maybe you're going into kind of some kind of workplace or organization and they're kind of like showing you how it's run. So you've got this kind of like backdoor behind the scenes energy. That's interesting. That just came through. That wasn't in my notes. But again, you've got this sense of like deja vu or kind of uncanny valley, or just be careful of this because it can indicate mental health if you're feeling a bit disconnected from reality. But it's like, oh, my phone pinged, so that could be an affirmation for somebody. Like if you're feeling that kind of, what do you call it? It's like dissonance, is it? Like if you're feeling like your life's a bit of a movie at the moment, maybe just go and get like a mental health check, or maybe just kind of like speak to a friend about it and say, hi, you know, am I acting weird? Something like that. But you could definitely be seeing signs, a lot of parallels, maybe like I'm hearing mirror numbers. I was going to say like you know, like repeated numbers like 222, but I heard mirror numbers. You may be seeing certain animals everywhere. I was seeing bees a lot last week. Seagulls particularly could be something for somebody. One just flew past as I was saying that. I see crows a lot. Like crows are an indicator of spirit for me. There's a lot of owls coming out in the cards in between readings, so white owls specifically could be a signifier for you. And yeah, like I say, I'm seeing a lot of seagulls today. So seagulls are coming in with a message about the need to have fun. You know, like all work and no play make Jack a dull boy kind of energy. It's like, don't forget to have fun. Don't go out to kind of let off steam and kind of like be a little bit selfish sometimes as well. Seagulls are kind of a bit of a selfish energy for me. You know, kind of like teenagers or young adults, when they're kind of like out partying, they kind of like get wrapped up in what they're doing and sometimes don't realize the kind of harm that they're doing. You could be making a mess as well. This could be linking back to the kind of trash energy. So yeah, all that kind of stuff, but mostly it's coming through with seeing signs and seeing signs in nature. So going back to the white owl, white owls could be particularly significant. This Queen of Swords card insisted on coming back out. It kind of was out in the in-between spread and it came back out again. So you could actually be dealing with a Libra or have Libra placements. You could need to get some kind of advice, perhaps advice in terms of legalities. Sometimes Queen of Swords can be kind of legal advisor. She can also indicate a divorced woman, or somebody who's recently separated and who's gone a bit Elsa, you know, like that kind of cold ice queen energy. So all these kind of things could apply. We've also got the Chariot, which is a Cancerian card, so you could have Cancerian placements or be dealing with the Cancerian. It could be something to do with cars or travel by land, although she is flying actually, so maybe like flying a short distance as well. She kind of looks like Jasmine on the magic carpet, right? So maybe some of you are kind of having this feeling of like maybe tripping, maybe going somewhere in your dreams, something like this. Yeah, so white owls, it could be something to do with scouts. I think white owl is like a scout thing. I don't know. I'm not in the scouts. Correct me if I'm wrong. And also black cats as well. But a black cat came out in my reading. And as I started doing this reading now, there's a black cat across the way looking at me. With scouts and white owls, some of you could be doing something with first aid, perhaps learning first aid, perhaps learning more about the body. I would expect that to be King of Swords, but it's a message that came through. There could be something about having a dog by your side. As I sat down, I changed my bedding yesterday and all my kind of stuffed animals were on the floor. Yes, I'm a grown-up woman with stuffed animals. To be fair, they're my kids' stuffed animals and they bring them into me and then I end up with stuffed animals in my room. But yeah, it's, you could specifically, so either literally you have a dog by your side, like following you around kind of at your ankles, or you specifically could have a Labrador or a golden retriever or a sheepdog, or not a sheepdog, sorry, maybe a sheepdog, that's slip of the tongue, but it could be a Freudian slip, right? It could be somebody's dog. A German Shepherd or an Alsatian. Now, what I found interesting specifically about these two dogs, right? A Labrador Retriever, a Golden Retriever, a German Shepherd or an Alsatian. They tend to be very, very similar breed of dogs, and people tend to use those words interchangeably, right? Sometimes you'll call it a German Shepherd, sometimes you'll call it an Alsatian. So there could be something about somebody changing their name, or it's like that thing of like a rose by any other name would still smell sweet. So it could be something about something that has two different names, but it's the same thing, or a person who's changing their name, or it goes by different names, but it's like they're still the same person. And yeah, this could be something about a sweet smell as well. Perhaps you're smelling a sweet smell. Perhaps it just keeps coming up, this terminology, like the wording, sweet smell. And also like my kids' room this morning, I noticed a sweet smell, so I'm gonna have to go and do the mum thing of discovering what's causing that sweet smell in my kids' room. Yeah, they probably put something in the bin. The bin probably just needs taken out, but yeah, maybe if you're smelling a sweet smell, investigate it. Maybe you're getting kind of like a phantom smell, like you don't know where it's coming from, or maybe there's something particularly, maybe you've got some sweet smelling roses. There could be something about white roses. I was getting the word apple rose. I don't know if apple roses are a legitimate thing, but I feel like they are, and I feel like the white, kind of like greeny white roses. And that's all my intuitive message. And then the only other thing I need to say is I was actually intending to not do intuitive messages for Leo because, again, I lost my dad last week and my dad was a Leo. So I was kind of a little bit wary of what I was going to get from this reading and how I was going to be affected by doing this reading. But the messages that want to come are going to come. And my dad's not the only Leo in the world. So I don't know. Also, this imagery has been coming through a lot of animals around, so that's another thing that has been coming through. This is an interesting one. This came out in Cancer's reading yesterday, and I was talking about how so like when snakes shed the skin, it was coming through this message of like a snake shedding its skin, but it was to do it slowly, so that they're telling me glove, so that the skin came off in one long continuous piece and didn't get caught. It was like shedding the skin when it's the right time, when it's ready, right? And it was talking about perhaps like if you've got any scarring. So quick trigger warning, just skip ahead a minute if this is a bit squeamish for you. It's talking about like if you have any scarring, like don't pick at the scab, let it come off by itself when it's ready, or yeah, that kind of thing. I am wondering if somebody does have some kind of wound, perhaps like a blister, because I seem to be getting this imagery repeated. So yeah, just take care of the wound, keep it clean, keep it dry. Maybe just clean it with like salt water, maybe put like natural honey on it, if you know, to keep it clean, to keep it healed, but don't pick at it or anything like that. But it's funny, I saw this and then I went on Twitter this morning and I saw the dodo, you know, they post a lot of animal things, and someone had found a massive, like huge snake skin in their attic, in Australia where these things happen, and they actually found a massive snake, but it was like this one long continuous piece. And when I read the article, they were saying it's unusual for it to come off in one big long piece like that. So I thought that was interesting that I got in my reading, and then it was like it was there in real life. My throat's closing up, so that could be a sign about someone's throat chakra. Perhaps someone does have a cold. Three of Swords. Again, just watch your heart. There could be stuff about your heart. You could also be emotional about something that I've said, with the Three of Swords showing itself there. You know, obviously when you cry, your throat closes up. So that it could be something as well. Okay. Obviously, snake shedding its skin in the Judgment card can be symbolic of the transformation of life and death and the next phase. What's really interesting, again, I've not actually seen the death card for myself personally. So it's almost confirmation for me that it's not an ending, it's a transformation. I've been getting imagery as well of like black holes and how, you know, they seem like, you know, like almost like ending energy, but they're actually a transformational energy. You know, what goes into them, like stuff does come out of them, it just comes out of them in a different form. So there's a lot of, again, for me personally, a lot of interesting messages like that. The dragon, yeah. Okay, the dragon's protective. It's almost like your shadow side, your fears, your worst part, what we might consider worst parts of our nature, and how those protect us from things that we're scared of, like externally. How that part of us watches out for red flags, that part of us protects us and keeps us safe. Sometimes it can be in toxic ways. It depends on your relationship with your dragon. The sword, so some kind of truth or authority. Okay, I'm just gonna reset and then we'll go into the reading. Okay, so I'm being told to get a song. So first up, we're gonna get a song. Oh, I had a dream about my nana, my dad's mum, last night. It was like she came to visit me, so I've got my nana's ring on today. Okay. Oh, it's "Kiss Me" by Ed Sheeran. I got one of those bloody Kid Bops adverts, but the song that randomized was "Kiss Me" by Ed Sheeran. It's a really nice song. A little bit cheesy, right? A little bit cheesy, but nice song. What did I wake up with? Sometimes when I've done a reading, it's like I wake up with when people are listening to the songs from the reading. So what was the song that I woke up with this morning? Somebody I Loved, right, by Lewis Capaldi. It was in Cancer's reading yesterday, and then I woke up with it in my head this morning. Okay, "Kiss Me" by Ed Sheeran. Settle down with me, cover me up, cuddle me in. Lie down with me and hold me in your arms. And your heart's against my chest, your lips pressed to my neck. I'm falling for your eyes, but they don't know me yet. And with a feeling I'll forget, I'm in love now. Oh, Leos, are you in love? As I said, that was 2233 on the timestamp. So number patterns. Kiss me like you want to be loved. This feels like falling in love. Settle down with me and I'll be your safety. You'll be my lady. I was made to keep your body warm, but I'm as cold as the wind blows, so hold me in your arms. Yeah, I've been feeling everything, from hate to love, from love to lust, from lust to truth. I guess that's how I know you. So let me hold you. Let me hold you close to help you give it up. Hate to love, love to lust, lust to truth. Okay, that seems like a thing. Hate to love to lust, lust to truth. Right. Let's get you a princess. This is a thing I'm doing now after Cancer's reading. I get you a dusty princess. So I'm going to close my eyes and pick you a little token, and we'll see what that has to say. There's lots of ways that you can let the universe talk to you, right? There's a lot of divination tools that we can use. You don't have to use something that you've purchased. You can use whatever's lying around your house. Okay, what do we have, please, for Leo? This one? Oh, I went dizzy. Aladdin. So Aladdin, I think about Aladdin at the beginning of the movie, right, where he was kind of like, he was like a street thief, right? He was doing what he had to do to survive. He was playing the hand that he was dealt. And he was kind of quite happy-go-lucky with it, actually. He was kind of a bit cheeky. Kind of, Disney kind of do this character a lot, kind of like if you think about like Flynn Rider as well. Yeah, kind of mischief maker. But he had a bit of an inferiority complex, right? He didn't think he was good enough. So when he got his wishes, he wished to be like that rich, impressive prince. But it wasn't really what Jasmine liked about him, was it? She wasn't really impressed by all that. You know, she was impressed by his kindness, his humor, his kind of rakish ways. how down to earth and unpretentious he was, right? Something about not wearing shoes, perhaps. There could be something about not wearing shoes. Maybe somebody is from perhaps a Muslim culture where you take your shoes off if you go into somebody's house. I'm like that. I hate people walking, especially on carpet. I hate when people wear outdoor shoes inside on carpet because I'm like, it's so dirty. Like you could have walked through dog poo and then you're walking through some, it's like they're giving me drop dead Fred now. Dog poo, sticky, sticky dog poo on the stairs. Perhaps someone has like a bit of an imaginary friend. Same girl. And Ariel. So Ariel, it's interesting. I was talking about the throat chakra before, right? I was talking about like maybe there's, it can be communication problems with the throat chakra. And of course, Ariel lost her voice. So perhaps somebody has lost the voice, or like either physically and literally or metaphorically. Like somebody feels like they have no say in a situation. Somebody feels like they can't speak up for themselves, like they can't communicate what they need to communicate. So communication issues with Ariel. A fish out of water, I'm hearing. So someone could feel like they're out of their normal environment. They're in an unfamiliar environment. You know, this isn't something that they're accustomed to, especially like if you look at the commonality, right, of because Ariel goes into the palace, right, and she doesn't know what anything is, so she's trying to like impress people by brushing her hair with a fork because she thinks that's civilized. So the idea of perhaps what is civilized and what is seen as upper class could actually just be pretentious behavior. You could also feel like there could be problems with contracts, you know, perhaps things like NDAs. If you look at Ariel's contract with Ursula steals her voice. So you could feel like you've got yourself into a contract where perhaps, yes, you got what you wanted, but you realize that either you've been tricked or you're being scammed in some sort of way, or you know, it's maybe you've got yourself into a contract that's not actually right for you. You just didn't know until you actually experienced it. So there could be all these kinds of things coming up. Again, Aladdin had kind of a contract with the genie, right? And again, you have this theme of like your wishes and getting what you want and being like, oh, perhaps I don't actually. The problem with wishes, right, is that we wish for things, and this is an interesting thing with that Piscean energy, right, of Saturn moving into Pisces and also being in Pisces season, which again, these things do affect us all. The generational planets, when they move, it does affect us all on a collective level. So the idea of like working hard, perhaps working hard to achieve some kind of dream or to attain some kind of wish or goal. And then when you get it, feeling very dissatisfied with it, or seeing it from a different perspective because it's not quite what you thought it would be. This kind of thing could be coming up. So how do you get out of contracts that are not, you know, perhaps at one point they were a dream or a wish, but when you're in it, it's not really suitable for you. It could be making you unhappy. Okay, what else do we have, please, for my lovely Leos? Tell me more. Tell me more, tell me more. Like, does he have a car? You had the Chariot card. There could be something about cars. Again, that idea of like trying to impress people, like impressing someone with your car, right? It's like maybe you feel like because you don't have a car, like people won't take you seriously or be impressed by you, or they'll see you as inferior, something like that. Like, I don't know, it's like material snobbery. The prince, yeah. I don't know. Like a fake prince. The desert. The desert keeps coming out in reverse. The prince in the desert, that has like I just saw this in again, I want to kind of give credit where credit's due. I've just come from Bommy Spirit's reading, so if you want to go and check out Bommy Spirit, BOMI Spirit, she's brilliant. She talks about astrology and how the planets are moving a lot in her readings as well. And she was talking about I think it may have been for air signs. I can't remember if it's collective messages or air signs. She does, if excuse me, my tummy rumbled. If you think I do long readings, her readings are like almost 3 hours long. So yeah, one of them, and she was talking about the camel card, and this feeling of like 40 days and 40 nights. So maybe you have committed to something for a certain span of time, But maybe that's almost over now. It's like you're coming out of the desert, right? It's like almost like you went off. You know how some kind of cultures they do that thing where when children reach a certain age, I think this is quite a Native American custom. You know, I saw it in that Predator film that they released recently. It's like they have to go out and make it on their own for a certain amount of time before they return to the tribe and their community. It's kind of like a rite of passage. So you could have gone through some kind of rite of passage recently. Again, this could be like a 7-year thing. It's almost like having to prove yourself. It's interesting as well because Cancer had this a little bit in their reading yesterday, this idea of nepotism, and do people really deserve kind of the position that they're in just because perhaps they've got family members in a certain position. So yeah, it's something about proving yourself, like proving yourself worthy through, it's almost like labors, right? If you think of like the Herculean labors. And then the willow tree. The willow tree can be feminine, it can be supportive. I'm hearing supportive character. It can also be a suffocating energy. It's a watery energy, so an emotional energy. And it can be symbolic of death. But willow trees are interesting because, especially if we're talking about the desert. So the desert isn't I can't speak. The desert, again, can't speak. See, again, communication, aerial, throat chakra. So you may want to go away and work on your throat chakra, especially if you're having physical symptoms of that, because when our chakras are blocked, it can manifest as physical symptoms like colds and coughs, or, you know, stomach upsets if your lower chakras are blocked and this kind of thing. So you may need to go and do some chakra work. But yeah, the desert is talking about like a dry period, an emotionally dry period. So being in some kind of situation that your emotional needs are perhaps not being met. It can be difficult to kind of find replenishment for your emotions. The good thing about the willow tree, and this came out a lot, I remember this came out in a phase of readings a while back. Willow trees are very good at finding water. They actually they tend to grow by water, but the roots are very good at, you know, digging down, and if there's water underneath the surface, the roots will find it. So there could be something about the right plant for the right environment, and this could be a metaphor for people. So some people get very good at working in kind of quite clinical environments or logical environments. So if you worked in a scientific research center, you might have to be very, very pragmatic, very practical, perhaps very kind of pentacles and swords energy. Or you could find that if you're working in perhaps a care environment or a perhaps social care or something like this, you may have to have more of that cups energy. But it could be talking about like what environment are you in, like who's around you, who are the people around you in this environment, and are they too watery for you, are they too emotional for you, or are they not emotional enough for you, and finding the right matches there, understanding that people are different. You know, people have different needs and different ways of negotiating things, but there could be something about that. Okay, they're giving me a song with the willow tree and the roots in the desert. They're giving me, we've got to dig deep for the ground beneath our feet. Let me just pull that up. Got to dig deep. Okay. I'm just trying to think what song that is. Cause you gotta dig deep for the ocean. Is it oceans beneath our feet? The oceans beneath our feet. Sorry, I'm just trying to Google it. I might have to pause if this is going to take a minute. Imelda May diamonds. There we go. I've got it. Let me just Imelda May diamonds. There we go. Lyrics. I'll listen to what you say. I won't just throw love away. If you talk from the truth, so this is like the third or fourth time we've had truth now, I'll hear the gold in you. Walking on sands for fools. because when the wind blows, it moves. So again, the idea of like sand being a shifting ground. You know, you want to have strong roots. You know, you want to feel stable. Perhaps you could feel very unstable at this time. You could feel like you know, you're in a situation where you don't feel secure. Walking on sand's for fools, because when the wind blows, it moves. Interesting, they would both walk on sand, right? So, darling, let's dig deep. There's diamonds beneath our feet. Don't catch the moon for me. Don't tame the raging sea. Don't need to wish on stars. We don't have to reach that far. Everything's right where we are. But sometimes it hurts to know what it's worth. So we've got to dig deep to the diamonds beneath our feet. The world is for us to take. If every mistake we make binds us together strong, turns our right to wrong. I'm just thinking it's funny that you had Jasmine write Magic Carping Ride and now you've got Aladdin. Maybe it's somebody who's shown you the world. Okay. Everything's right where we are. Maybe you don't need to travel the world. You don't need to see the world because everything you need is right in front of you. There could be something like that. What do we have, please, for Leo? What do we have for Leo? What do we have for Leo, please? Do we have anything from this deck for Leo? There we go. Well, it could be a bit of a fallout. The mother, there could be something about somebody's mother. Again, I did get the kind of like Madonna's ring. Interesting, it did have a pearl there as well. Let me just go again, sorry, because they came out in a bit of a blip. Yeah, they keep coming out. Okay, the mother and the sustainer, there could be something about the role of the mother. Does the mother provide for you? Who, you know, what is your relationship like with your mother? Perhaps they are an earth sign or were an earth sign. Perhaps they have that kind of stable energy. I think Madonna was a Virgo. Again, Virgo has sustainer energy. They provide. Virgos provide for the people around them. They're a carer energy. Is this something that you are doing for yourself? Is this something that you're doing for others? Are you caring for your own mother? Is this role being filled in your life, or is there a vacancy? Something about my hands. I keep rubbing my hands. It's almost like, you know, when people put on hand cream. Maybe you need to give yourself a hand massage. I was thinking this last night when I was doing yoga. Sometimes I give myself a foot massage. And I was thinking about doing a series of cards with like just things that are kind to yourself, you know, self-care kind of things. Like go for a walk, you know, spend time styling your hair, you know, give yourself a shave, whatever it is that you shave, put on hand cream, give yourself a foot massage or a back massage or a neck massage, whatever you want. It's like, do something kind to yourself, especially if you have got Virgo placements. You know, there's kindnesses that you show for others. Do those things for yourself if they're not being done for you. Is that 2 cats? There are 2 black cats. Oh my goodness. Did my neighbours get another black cat, or has there always been 2 black cats and I just thought it was 1 black cat? There's 2 black cats. I knew black cats were going to be a thing in your reading. I want one. I love black cats. Some of you may have seen Bess. She used to make an appearance in my readings. Oh, they're so beautiful. They like lay on a window ledge like bum to bum. Oh, I love them. I want a cat. I miss having a cat. Maybe you need like an emotional support animal. I was talking about dogs earlier. The Queen. You could have, again, talking about mother roles, like either your role as a mother, your own relationship to your mother, or mother figures in your life. You could have had a mother who perhaps had a lot of responsibilities. Beyond the home, beyond the role of the mother, you could have had perhaps a mother who was very active in your community and had a lot of community roles. You could have had a mother who was a teacher specifically, because that dream with Madonna was about being in a school. I did work in a school for a while. So, you know, it could be something like you had a career mum. So she was your mother, but also something to other people. What is it with my hands? I feel like I need to put hand cream on or something. My hands are a bit dry. Wringing your hands? Maybe somebody's wringing the hands. The heart. Oh my God. How beautiful, the Queen in the heart. It's almost like perhaps you felt, some of you could have felt a bit of neglect in terms of attention from your mother. If your mother, again, had some kind of something about her and the way she navigated life, where perhaps she had a lot of authority. Perhaps she was just like head of the family, you know, the boss. And again, talking about the willow tree, typically and traditionally, and again, I'm not kind of saying, my own personal belief is anyone can be whatever they want to be, right? There shouldn't be barriers in terms of age, ability. I mean, to a certain extent, it depends what you're doing with ability, right? You know, there's certain things that would be unsuitable for certain people with certain disabilities, which, you know, but most things, generally speaking, you know, your gender, your age, all these kind of things, there shouldn't be barriers to doing what you want to do. But traditionally speaking, because of the cards that are on the table, you could be dealing with a specific character, and this could be yourself, who plays more of a supportive role, that traditional queen role, right? If you think about Princess Diana, right, the heart. So yeah, the queen, where the king in these decks can sometimes indicate somebody with a lot of authority and a lot of responsibility, but they can be quite practical, and they can be quite matter of fact, and they can be quite kind of like doing what they need to do and down to earth about it. The queen could be more engaging, more of a listener energy, more of a consultant energy, more of a uh, more socially aware. You know, like, you know, the king could be making practical decisions, but the queen could be making decisions because she knows how it's going to affect people emotionally. You know, heart and mind kind of thing, like working together. The unseen queen. That's interesting. That's nice energy. I like this. And if this has been what's missing for you, if you feel with the desert a sense of distance or disconnect or neglect, I want to say that whoever this queen is, and it could definitely be you being, is that another seagull? It's funny, and I don't know why my nana's coming through so strongly in this reading. She lived by the beach, and there was always seagulls around her house. Seagulls. I have crows, which is very suitable because I'm Libra, right? Queen of Swords, kind of high priestess energy. Crows are much more appropriate to me and my territory, my kingdom. But we do get the occasional seagull. They do come in with like troublemaker energy into my area. Okay, let's find out about the prince. What do we have going on with the prince? Why is the prince here for Leo? Thank you. Nourishment, gorgeous. Wisdom and nourishment. Again, like the provider. Just checking if there's anything else. 22 and 7, they could be significant numbers for you in some sort of way. Wisdom and nourishment. You could be looking at research into nutrition. I've been talking about this, it's come up quite a few times this week, basically mostly because I'm just paranoid about taking care of my health, right, and things like that, and natural remedies and things like this. You know, I'm hearing you are what you eat, so looking after your body physically. Of course, sometimes there's things that perhaps are genetic, or you know, perhaps just situational, that are nothing to do with nutrition and things like that. But say for example, if you eat the right things and you diet and you exercise, not diet, but if you have a good diet and you exercise, and you're giving your body all the nutrition it needs, your body's going to be better at fighting off illnesses or recovering faster. If you don't take care of your body and your nutritional needs, you know, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. So understanding the importance of nutrition, the importance of what nourishes you, and this goes beyond food, right? Again, with wisdom as well. You can be nourished by, you need to nourish your brain. You need to keep those synapses firing, right? You don't want your grey matter to become like, I said, almost like gum, right? You don't want your brain to be like a big gummy. Maybe somebody's taking gummies. I don't know if that works for you or not. Maybe again, do some more research on what that does to your brain. Not all gummies are created equal, guys. Some have higher THC in them than others. You know, there's a lot of different ingredients, a lot of different manufacturers. So you may find that some are appropriate for you and some aren't. So it's important to understand ingredients and what those ingredients do to your brain specifically. Again, different bodies have different needs, all that kind of stuff. I'm not telling you what to do and what not to do. Just do your research and know what you're doing. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, nourishment in terms of like grey matter. I'm the sort of person, again, I'm an air sign. I've got a huge amount of air in my chart. Air sign is thinker energy, analytical thinker, information energy. So I get very, very bored and restless if my brain isn't being stimulated. I like to be learning. So again, you can think about how, again, fact check this, what I'm about to say. I'm not an expert, but I believe, you know, as you get older, in terms of like your memory and things like Alzheimer's, if you keep your brain active and you're constantly learning, you're generating new brain cells, and that keeps your brain kind of alive and kind of engaged, where if you kind of like just sat there consuming, I don't know, daytime television, maybe that's not stimulating enough for your brain. So how can you fire up your brain? Do you want to do logic puzzles? Do you want to download an app that lets you do, you know, I've been doing Wordle, I was doing Wordle with my dad. You know, is there something that you can do kind of like to learn something new? And not only learn something new in terms of your brain, but learn something new physically. We have muscle memory. It's kind of like, you know, people say you never forget how to ride a bike. I'm learning to drive at the moment, and it's meaning, obviously your body's controlled by your brain, right? So it's like when you do something different, when you physically do something different, you're stimulating your brain as well, because your brain has to be like, um, how do I coordinate? How do I move my hand? I'm really into this YouTube channel at the moment called the Institute of Human Anatomy, and I was watching one of the videos, and they were talking about how, like, kind of like spatial awareness. So we don't just rely on our eyes to have spatial awareness. We've got things like you know, our nerve endings and temperature and things. So we've got all these other signals in our body that tell us where our body is in physical space without actually having to look at it. You know, like it's almost like the way he was saying is like, you don't just rely on looking at your hand to know where your hand is. If you shut your eyes, you have some awareness of like, is my hand above my head, below my head, because of the different muscles and things sending signals to your brain. So yeah, retrain your brain, but retrain your brain through physical activity. So it could be that you need to, dance has been coming up a lot. So maybe learning a new dance, right? Moving your body in an unusual way could be enough to kind of like really generate those new brain cells. But you need the nutrition to do it, right? You need your body needs the resources to pull on in order to create those new brain cells. So it's kind of a bit of a mixed bag. And again, this may not be you, it may be somebody around you, particularly if you're caring for an older person and you want to keep that grey matter firing, you know. What's the desert? Whoa, okay, they've fallen on the floor. That normally means they don't want those cards. Oh, the Raven, News and the Raven, love them. Love them. I told you you're getting messages from the birds. Maybe you're into like, is it algae? I can never remember the specific term. But there was a specific kind of seers in ancient Rome who would read the movement and flight patterns and behaviour of birds to be able to predict things. And I think there may be something in that. There's that chimera again. And boundaries. Synergy, happiness, and boundaries. Well, here comes the water, right? I do feel like it's saying to me that period of needing the emotion is over, and everything's a muscle. You know, our heart's a muscle. Feeling things is a muscle. You know, I was talking in the readings a while back about holding a baby, and when you hold a baby, what your body's supposed to do, if it's again, situations and things like this can come into play, but what your body's meant to do when you hold your own baby is to release all this like oxytocin and all these love hormones, right? It's like what makes you breastfeed or be able to breastfeed. So again, I'm not blaming anyone here. Like situationally, if you're very stressed, that can impact the oxytocin release and your ability to connect with your child and, you know, feed your child. There's a lot of again, this is why environment is as important as anything else, because if you're in the right environment, your body's going to be able to kind of like release those chemicals that it needs to release. Whether you've got the right food or not, if you're stressed, it's going to have an impact. So you've got this kind of holistic approach, it seems, to your well-being. There's something interesting going on as well with your numbers. I'm really noticing the numbers in this reading. So you've got 42, 32, 12, 22. Right? So this number patterns. So it's almost like this needs to go in here. So I'm going to take that because I feel like we need to insert whoever the prince is in your reading. And the prince is somebody who is, they're learning to be king, right? They're noble, they're adventurous, they're sometimes got a little bit of ego to them. But they're trying to do noble things, right? They're trying to do what's right. So whoever this character is for you, and it could be you, I feel like we need to take this piece of wisdom from them. And this wisdom is something about what nourishes you. And we need to put it in here, right? Because at the moment, it's missing with the desert, right? The wisdom is missing from this situation. So if we insert it into its correct place, 42, 32, 12, 22, 12, happiness, playtime. I was talking about the seagulls, right? Seagulls and dolphins both carry that energy of kind of like maybe going to a beach, maybe going on holiday, having some fun. The lions here, this is you. What's really interesting to me is I'm reading for Leo, and we have Capricorn here with the goat. Snake I normally would associate with Plutonic energy, so Scorpio. So somebody could have all these placements. So specifically, I mean, this would be Venus with the dolphins. It's a symbol of Venus. So Libra, Taurus perhaps, but on this specific card we've got that Leo Capricorn connection specifically. So we could be talking about somebody with those placements. And I am encouraging you to watch your sun, your moon, your Lilith, possibly your south or north node as well if you're interested in that. So synergy, how do you take all these like disparate, is that the right word, disparate parts, all these different components, both of your personality, of your needs, of your abilities, of your skills, of what you want to learn, right? Being a full well-rounded person with a variety of different needs for you to be able to fully actualize yourself. And how do you synergize this? How do you bring it all together? This piece of wisdom about nourishment was missing. What nourishes you? And it could be more than just food. And then you have boundaries. Okay. Let's just put it like this. Because wisdom and nourishment came out together with the prince. Yeah, Terra della Nui. Okay. So we start with happiness. What makes you happy? What makes you happy? And is it actually is it right for you, or is this something you need to balance out? Because sometimes we can overindulge in what makes us happy. The Empress. So here's that mother energy again. It could definitely be talking about your mother. It could be talking about how you mother. It could be talking about your need to nurture, your need to provide nourishment. This is always the sleeping Empress, the tired Empress. There is a lot of stuff going through in, again, in terms of astrology. Definitely recommend Bommy Spirit for that. And she's talking about a lot of us feel very kind of like fuzzy in the brain at the moment. A lot of us feel very tired, like we need to replenish, like we need to nourish ourselves and do that self-care. But also with Piscean energy, it's about not overindulging that, right? Not overindulging, sitting around fantasizing and getting that balance right. So very, very Venus energy. So whether this is an aspect of you or this is somebody around you, you could connect happiness to this person, right? You could have some idea or concept of happiness tied up to this individual, whatever this energy is. So very, very Venus. So we could be talking about sexuality, love, romance, very watery with the dolphin, like the watery aspect of Venus. And she was, if you're talking about Venus, the Roman version of the goddess, obviously we have Aphrodite in Greece and Venus in Rome. Venus was a patron goddess to Rome. She was a mother of Rome, the mother of Rome. You know, she was a defender of Rome. There's stories about how she helped out Aeneas, because she knew that he was essential to the founding of Rome. Yeah, you know, she fought with Hera. So I don't know, it could be something about Hera being a wife energy, but Venus being a mother energy. Disagreements, perhaps. Maybe you've got like a baby mama, a wife and a baby mama, like trying to negotiate the happiness there. But there's something motherly and nourishing that you conflate with happiness, because we need it, right? We all have that need, no matter how independent we are, no matter how capable we are, no matter how strong we are. The need to be nurtured is an aspect of us. It's an aspect we can sideline, it's an aspect we can deny, but it is always an aspect of us. And it's like, it's okay, you know, if you've got people around you who want to nourish you and provide that supportive role, right? If you've got somebody around you who's this energy, like, let them, right? Because I want to say it's coming from the heart there. Right, synergy and chimera. Thank you. There's something that you're healing, and there's something that you're like synthesizing. So you may feel very depleted at the moment. You may feel very tired. You may feel very drained, just because that's the sleeping empress. You know, it's like empress with low battery. But she's not doing nothing. This is the thing. Sometimes, I mean, Venus is a lazy energy, right? Taurus and Libra are known to be lazier signs, right? They're associated with luxury, about enjoying luxury, about they're a physical sign. So it's not that just because somebody's resting or somebody's sleeping or in a low energy cycle, it doesn't mean nothing's happening, because sleep's really important to the synergy of ideas, right? To our to process what we know, to process our experiences. Oh my god, those cats, I want them. Do you think I can steal my neighbor's cats? I did that once. He was called Ninja Cat. He was like because he's coming through like the first floor window. Just if you're American, in the UK we have the ground floor and the first floor. So if you were in America, it would be what you'd call the second floor, the upstairs window. Yeah, like if the upstairs window was open, he'd come in, and like I'd find him lay on my bed. And we thought for a while that he didn't, like, he used to come in and steal cat treats and stuff like that. He'd come in through the window like he was being really naughty, like a burglar, and he'd like come in and steal cat treats and like run off halfway up the garden, like eating them, like looking at me like I was going to take them off him. He was such a funny cat. And we thought he was a wild cat. We thought he was homeless, which is why we kind of just started befriending him. And then we were like trying to put, like, you know, the paper collar on him, saying like, is this your cat? And in the end I had to go around house to house and like say, is this your cat? And eventually I tracked it down. He was a neighbor's cat, but they had like they had another cat, and I think they had a baby and a toddler, and I think the cat just came to us for peace and quiet. He was so funny. He was very welcome. Like the neighbors said it was fine. They were like, do you know what, it's fine. Like they weren't salty about it, but yeah. And then we had Bessie, and we had Luna. Oh, I want the cats. Okay, so it's making me think of Cancer's reading. They had this thing about something that they wanted, but it was at a distance from them. Okay, healing. Yeah, so healing. They need to rest. They need to perhaps just curl up with your pets. They need to You know, sleep is when our body does its MOT. You know, it's when our body, you know, creates those new cells, you know, whether it's like where it converts new memories into long-term memories. So there's all these processes that we do when we're resting and sleeping and daydreaming. So sometimes it can look like somebody's not doing anything, but they actually are. And you're synergizing something. And again, it's like all these different needs, all these different parts of your personality. You're kind of like bringing them together to create not Frankenstein's monster. Sorry, I was getting Frankenstein's monster references yesterday. Perhaps you feel like a bit of a Frankenstein's monster. Maybe somebody's had a transplant. You know, like physically you have a body part of somebody else. Maybe somebody's had like a skin graft with all that snake stuff, or... And so if you were to do something like that, sorry, everything could be metaphorical or it could be literal for like one person or a couple of you. There could be something, yeah, because it looks like her hand's not a hand. You see, it's like she's wrapped in... It's like the fabric almost looks like a different skin. And I feel like I've seen that as well. That would make sense. Okay, I've been getting all these mad messages. It's kind of like Silence of the Lambs. It's like, why is someone wearing someone else's skin? And then like all this stuff about all these myths about so there's one where it's like this guy who killed the sea monster, but when he put the skin of the sea monster on, he became the sea monster, and he was able to go out at night and catch fish and provide for his family. But you know, his family, his community were always like, he's lazy, he's good for nothing. But he was actually going out at night and catching these fish, and so when he came home, he was exhausted and he needed to sleep, but his family, like, nobody knew what he was doing. And then there's these other things about sorry, I just getting really distracted all of a sudden. All these other things about like selkies, I think they're called, and they're normally women, but they can be men as well, and they're actually almost like mermaids, but they take off the kind of outer form, the fish form, and come onto land as human beings. Again, you've got that, it keeps coming up, you've got like the Little Mermaid here. So the idea of like wearing a fish suit, right? Maybe somebody's just dressing up as a mermaid, I don't know. But with the snake skin as well, it's making me think of, I feel like I've seen it where maybe it was on like ER. I feel like someone had some kind of burn, because this was coming through in somebody's reading as well, about like different ways, like natural ways to heal skin. And so what they did was, maybe it was scrubs as well, I don't know. I was talking about The Good Doctor as well with a friend. It's like a fish skin. They used some kind of fish skin on some kind of burn to heal it. And it was a girl, and she was really creeped out by it. She was like, oh, it's stinky and gross kind of thing. Like, and she was all like, nobody will ever love me because I've got these burns. And I think she formed a relationship with the doctor. What was that? I can't remember what show it was. And eventually, like, you know, they took off she wanted to take it off early and they wouldn't let her. And then eventually she took this fish skin off, and it like kind of like miraculously helped it to heal. Not perfectly, but much better than perhaps other treatments would have done. So I wonder if somebody's having something like that. It's funny, like I say, they give me all these messages and it takes me a while to put the pieces of the picture together. And then it's like, that would make sense. That makes sense on a... Yeah. Okay, nourishment and wisdom. But it takes time for things to heal, right? It takes time for... Say, for example, if you had a transplant, you know, your body needs to accept it and not reject it. So you need to, like, take time to make sure it's fully integrated. Four of Cups as well. So you could feel like you're missing out on something. Don't miss an opportunity. There's a defensiveness here regarding, it could be opportunities that you've missed out on the past, or it could be kind of like abandonment wounds, rejection wounds. I'd say I don't associate that more with the fives, but it's almost like letting things pass you by because you're defensive about being hurt in the past My tummy's rumbling. Sorry, maybe I need to go and get myself some nourishment and wisdom. But it's also like standing your ground. So if you need rest, stand your ground and say you need rest, right? Defend yourself, defend your needs. And then boundaries, yeah, with the 7 of Wands, boundaries. So set those boundaries. What do we have here? What's boundaries? Yeah, sometimes you have to stand up for yourself. You have to defend yourself, because people don't always understand. We've got all, everybody's got different physiques. Everybody's got different needs in terms of the body. Some people need more of one thing. Some people don't hardly need any sleep, right? They're just like naturally very energetic people, Virgos. Virgos do need sleep, they just deny it. Some people are, they need like a solid 8 hours. I'm one of those people that's like, if I don't get my full 8 hours, I'm not fully functional. Some people are like 4 hours and they're good. So it can be hard to understand that different people have different physical needs. And again, this can be some things to do with genetics. I was talking about how I can get low on iron, and that can make me feel very tired as well. And that's a genetic thing. My dad was also, low on iron. So you may have to defend yourself. You may have to just set your boundaries and say, this is what I'm physically capable of at this time. These are my needs. With the circles as well, it's making me think of, it was a video I watched once about, and it was explaining, I think it was Asperger's. It could have been autism as a general term, but I think it was Asperger's. And it was very much like the spoons idea as well, if you know spoonies. But this lady had a circle, and she had a bigger circle. And she said, generally, most people, their circle's this big. And so they can fit in a lot of different activities, learning things, like all these different things that these people can fit into that big circle. But she said with people with Asperger's, oh my goodness, that was a proper grumble. Oh my goodness, that is embarrassing. Sorry guys, pretend you didn't hear that. What people can find is that the circle will be much smaller, and it's the circle about how much they're capable of juggling until they get overwhelmed. Again, I'm talking about a generalization, but I thought it was a very interesting way of explaining it, because not everybody can understand. So it was saying like you can't fit in as much as someone with a bigger circle could, because very quickly you've got too many plates you're spinning in the air, you're getting exhausted. So again, if you're not familiar with the idea of spoonies or the spoons principle or technique or theory, I don't know, it's this theory of often for people with illnesses or physical disabilities and things like this, and it's been adopted and applied to a lot of different ways. I know a lot of my friends with Asperger's also use the spoons technique, and it's saying you have 12 spoons. You wake up in the morning, you've got 12 spoons. And it's like everything you do costs a spoon. So for some people, brushing your teeth is a spoon, washing your hair is a spoon, making breakfast is a spoon, right? And you could say, and so 3 spoons are gone, like right at the start of the day, and you've only got like 9 spoons left for the rest of the day. And it could be making a doctor's appointment is 3 spoons. Going to a doctor's appointment is 7 spoons. So before you know it, your spoons are gone, right? And it's like you've done one thing and all your spoons are gone. So it's talking about management and energy management, about prioritizing what needs to be done versus things that could be done every other day, perhaps. So it could be like, I don't know, having a shower. Perhaps you can go from doing that every day to every other day. Perhaps it could be, obviously certain things like brushing your teeth, you really need to be doing twice a day. But it could be like washing the pots, right? Washing the dishes, do that every day, every other day. Or instead of doing it, I don't know, it's just like different ways of like understanding what drains you or what overwhelms you, and finding a way to balance it in a way that you don't completely drain your battery to point zero. My tummy's rumbling, so I'm gonna have to go. But I hope that's helpful for somebody again. And this can be something that happens at different phases. So sometimes we can be going through something situationally or environmentally. For example, what's going on with me this week, where I need a lot more time to rest, right? I need more time to rest. I need more time to process. I need more time to heal. And I need to set those boundaries and say this, you know, my boss is absolutely the most understanding, bend over back. She's a Virgo, bend over backwards type person. So I sent her a message and said, I think you're probably going to want to cover me for Sunday. And I'll let her know as soon as possible and stuff like that. So, but you know, if you need to take a day off, you need to take a day off, and don't let people guilt trip you for that. She would never, but you know, I've had bosses in the past who, you know, gave me a hard time when my granddad died, for example. So, you know, sometimes you have to have those stronger boundaries, which can be hard when you're feeling vulnerable. The Hermit, yeah, this is about time alone. Time alone, time to disconnect from everybody else's opinion about what they think you should do, or what, you know, sometimes it could be well-meaning advice as well, you know, like friends checking in on you, or people like offering you advice of like, here's what you can do, I've had this idea. And sometimes you just need time alone. You need to know what you think. So, you know, set those boundaries. And then the Wheel. So when you do this, when you do that deep dive into yourself, right, your own needs, what you think, what you need, then you'll be able to go on to the next phase. The Wheel is talking about, it can be good luck and good fortune. It can just talk about a new cycle coming in after you've done the processing and you're in alignment. When you do hermit mode, you get in alignment with your own spirit, right, with your own guides, with your own needs. So yeah, absolutely. Really interesting reading, Leo, and I think it's going to be really helpful to you to do that processing. Yeah, I feel like something's going to come in for you. Oh my God, look at that. Yeah, okay, something's going to come in for you. Again, you need to go through this first, right? The quiet time. Look, she's like laid down on all of these cards. And like laid bare as well, I want to say. And again, like hugging herself. But then it's like something to do, like I feel like something's going to spark you. It could be something gets you angry, or something gets you motivated, right? Something gets you enthusiastic. It's like there's going to be a wand coming in, a wand energy. So it's something new, and it's going to be like a match being lit inside you. And it's like you burst into this Queen of Wands energy, which is, I want to say, one of your energies, right? Queen of Wands, it's a fire sign energy. So it's like suddenly coming back out and being on top form, and being enthusiastic and in control, and you know, being able to stand up for yourself. Again, don't worry about gender. If you want to say King of Wands, go ahead and do it. And then Page of Wands. So it's like, make sure you get your information, right? So it's like a spot, like something inside you that kind of like gets you to jump out of bed on full form, motivated to find out more. So you're going to be okay, but do this, right? Because that's not going to happen, and it's not going to happen properly and effectively until you've done this. Oh my goodness, Leo, these readings are long. Why do I get myself into this? Okay, so let's get a song for your reading. So you've got Kiss Me by Ed Sheeran, just kind of like, I don't know if you need to like see the proof that was the song that kind of came on for you. Okay, I always get an advert, it's really annoying. I'm asking for a light bulb moment for you. I'm asking for like an epiphany moment, something to really kind of like, really make that connection in your mind. Silk by Wolf Alice. Again, it could be something about, again, like something about what you wear on your skin, or like silk. Oh my goodness, this one's gonna get me. My dad had really broad shoulders. Your broad shoulders, my wet tears. You're alive and I'm still here. As some half-human creature thing, can you bring life to anything? Oh, take this to make you better, though eventually you'll die. This one's a hard one, guys. If you don't love me, don't tell me. I've never asked who, and I'll never ask why. It's such a shame. She used to be so delightful. Well, whose fault is that if it wasn't mum and dad's? Well, it must be yours. We'll have none of that. Just looking for a protector. God never reached out in time. There's love that is a saviour, but it ain't no love of mine. My love, it kills me slowly, slowly I could die. And when she sleeps, she hears the blues, sees shades of black and white. Run, run, run away. Got to stay cool, you hot, hot head. Count to 1,000 before you sleep in bed. Read the news, pass the time, drink the juice, feeling fine. Got to stay cool, you hot, hot head. Count to 1,000 before you sleep in bed. Read the news, pass the time, drink the juice, feeling fine. At least you're not boring. Nobody ever wants to feel like you're this sad. It's an absolutely beautiful song. I love Wolf Alice, so I highly recommend going and listening to that song. It'll be on YouTube. Silk Wolf Alice. Yeah, you may just have to feel something, right? You may just have to let yourself feel something there. And my tummy's rumbling, so I'm gonna go. I'm going to go and take care of my nutritional needs. You'll be very pleased with me, guys. Parenting myself. I had a bagel with like that much fresh spinach on it because, again, trying to get my iron up at the moment. So yeah, I have it. Just had a bit of a bug. My tummy's like, nom nom nom. Food time. Right, I'm going to go. Maybe it needs coffee. Have I had coffee yet? Yeah, I have had coffee. It needs more coffee. We know what I'm like. All right, take care of yourselves. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you again soon. Sorry the readings are so long. Probably most of you have fallen asleep. I don't know. Take care. See you again soon, guys. And go give yourself a big hug. Do that, right? Do that right now. Wrap your arms around yourself, around your own broad shoulders. Even if you've got skinny shoulders, wrap your arms around them. And give yourself a big hug, right? Because it's so important. It's so important to look after ourselves. And it is. It's like you look after other people better when you look after yourself properly. What is that? It's a plane. Okay. It looks weird. I thought it was a UFO. All right. Take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye. Hey guys, so I've actually started to process the reading, getting ready to upload it, and then I got some more information for you. So I was talking about like skin grafts and using fish skin to treat a wound. So if you need more information on that, I've believe tilapia fish. If you Google it, it'll come up. It's got like antifungal qualities and it's really moisturizing and stuff like that. So that could be for somebody if they need to treat a burn. Also, I was really relieved to like figure that out because I was like, that's what they've been trying to get me to, you know, like when I'm channeling stuff and I'm like, this is weird. The other thing was, I was just mentioning this to someone and they said that's really weird because I was just talking to a cardiac surgeon, a heart surgeon, about cardiac grafts. So it's like skin grafts for the heart. And because I've been getting stuff about the heart as well in the past couple of readings, I thought it could be something, it could be important information that somebody needs to hear, that like these treatments are available. So fish skin for burns and cardiac grafts for hearts. Maybe it's something that somebody's having done. I don't know. Again, it's just, it seemed like such a strange thing that I got it in the reading and then someone had been talking about it. So I wanted to pass it on to you guys just so you knew. Okay, bye.